I know mine.
hardwood floor, like laminate flooring thing. Area rug and stuff, and it's still noisy, and it's like, okay.
I don't know
it's
what's
still
going on,
noisy.
I just know
Equate that, you know,
there's gotta be
and then
some,
of course they're on, well,
some kind of water, something going on.
we do, and they tell
That
us,
tastes
yeah.
intoxicating
They don't,
from
well,
now
it's
on.
medical, and it's like, you know, we.
It happened on Friday, and then all weekend was fine.
That's my going unit below, just
So
resized.
I'm just letting you know, I don't know if anyone else is having
I got
cockroach
new
issues.
people living down here, I guess they usually complain. They put the
But
hardwood
it's
flooring.
the worst by far tenfold than it's ever. And it's confined to the kitchen. I'm not getting any
Yeah.
bugs anywhere else.
So we got, oh, look at this. Good guy.
And I'm wondering if it's coming up through this, through the
Whose dumb idea was this? Oh,
Because I plugged all the holes everywhere else. I don't know where else it could be coming in.
I don't wanna scare anybody, but I'm gonna,
Well, let me run it by the pest control company and see what.
I don't think I'm infectious, but hang on to it.
It's gotta
No,
be some kind
you
of
haven't been
water
in China
issue
recently,
for
have you?
cockroaches to be this time of year. Because usually you get them in the summertime, in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, I made some
It's
serious.
been going on since October, I told you.
yeah, today was an interesting day.
I had bought puts for
Oh, you
3
bought
cents
right
and
now.
they opened it at $1.20. We proceeded to march all the way up to
Yeah, there's some,
3 something, so.
and there's some good buys, Apple and
Yours?
I'm not
Microsoft.
done yet. I think this week's gonna be bloody tomorrow.
going.
I don't know.
Tomorrow's gonna be another bad day.
Well, you might have a dead cat bounce tomorrow.
If it does, it'll be after.
It's gonna come back as soon as this thing passes because this is total, like they were talking about, more people die from the flu every year
Mhm.
than they die from this, but this is the big news. Oh, the crowd, oh, another attack, oh,
Well, the
another
problem
outbreak.
is we're really gonna see what the numbers are looking like now that it's in countries that actually will tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
What? Italy,
yeah,
Korea.
Australia,
Australia.
you know.
Worst thing is Africa. They don't have China. Well, that blew up about a point there.
It's too hot. That's what's worried for is the
Now it was a
this was in
hard
October, I
temperature.
looks like the entire package. The last meeting.
Yeah.
It was
118 degrees.
Anyway,
I mean, I knew it was. That's what I'm going to see when I.
well, this is kind of, so, I'm gonna rely on you.
Okay.
He did
I'm
that.
gonna do the open forum, and then I'll, take it over to.
That time he made it and then stop by. It's
Live? Oh, we're live. Oh, hi there.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
You got it meeting. I mean, it's up to you.
It's fine.
This is the regular monthly meeting of the Foxcroft County Board of Directors. We're meeting on Monday, January 24th. And
February.
I thank you. You know what? This agenda says January.
That does. Okay. Well, we're starting off really good.
Not on the front, but the agenda might.
All right, well, we're done here.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It's actually a time machine here.
Let's see. We get like in the Norman, what? 3 of these for the year and then we have to start doing
Strike one.
early.
Okay.
Well, strike 2 is the February 23rd date on the front.
Because it's February 24th.
Let's see if you
Yeah.
can find the third one.
It
Yeah.
won't take long, brother.
Well, don't tempt us.
All right, the agenda is in front of you in the packet. Board members, do you have any changes or?
Well, we found one date. Yeah.
Okay, besides that one.
Let's see. You got here. Okay.
Well, we have a lot of business on the agenda today, but what better time to talk about swimming pool than to call the February?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta plan ahead.
It's
Okay.
been warm.
Yeah, with warm temperatures, might as well open the pool now.
Yep.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Okay, if there are no changes, the agenda stands approved as corrected with the date at the top. We do have a quorum of board members, 4 of us are here, so thank you, folks, and we can proceed with homeowner forum. If anyone wishes to speak to the board, please tell us your name and where you live, building and unit number, and what's on your mind tonight.
My name is Estelle Furr. I live in 9449. First of all, I want to thank y'all for sending that certified letter to the owner up above me so I could get my bathroom fixed. Appreciate that. That's all taken care of now.
Okay, good to hear.
Now I want to talk about that bank across the parking lot from us. I know a couple of you know what it looks like because y'all walk a lot. But I would appreciate it if the rest of the board would go over there and look at that bank to see how bad it really looks. Because y'all had it cleaned off a few years ago, but when the landscaping company cleaned it, instead of pulling all the dead weeds out of there, they just took the weed whacker and whacked them down. So of course they all grew back. And it looks really bad up there. And when they mow the yard and stuff, they don't pick up the sticks. I mean, they pick them up, but they just throw them up there in that mess across from there. And I would sure appreciate it if something could be done about that. And down a little bit further, closer to the trash cans, we have a cedar tree up there on the hill that vines grow up and has killed the majority of that. It's 2 pine trees there, which was the stumps. I mean, it was about this high and then it would branch off. Well, one branch broke years ago, so it's only one branch sticking out. And it's another one up at the top of the hill is the same way, except for that one's completely dead. So I'm wondering what can be done about this?
This is the,
My
along
question-
Pickett?
Yes.
Okay.
My question is that berm that they put, do we own it?
We own this
What?
side of it.
From the top, from
Well, stop
Yeah.
coming down, yes.
the other half belongs to the city.
Right.
Plus, we lost a tree several years ago up there on that hill that was never ever replaced. And actually, it's a big spot up in front of 47 that's nothing but weeds, dead weeds now too. I mean, you go from Jeff's building down, that bank looks really, really nice. And it's got some good trees. It's got a few that probably could be replaced too, but at least they just got trees. They don't have weeds.
Well, it's interesting, as I recall, you brought to our attention a couple of years ago that the condition of the bank, and that's when we approved cutting out the undergrowth. And unbeknownst to us, that caused a lot of objection, very strong objection from people who said, well, now there's nothing blocking the traffic going down Pickett Road from our line of sight. So it was one of those can't win.
If it was
Situations.
flowers there, it'd be different. But these are just dead weeds.
I think that we've kind of talked about possibly doing something along that side of the property in conjunction with what we're planning for the front entrance. This being the prime time to redo the front entrance to match the new neighbor across the street. And I see that Brian is here tonight, so we're almost certainly going to talk about the front entrance a little bit. And we'll see if there's something we can include in there to just make that area look a little more cared for, less unkempt.
Well, it looks bad, and like I say, the trees that we do have there,
I just getting choked out with vines.
they are just absolutely need to be replaced too, actually, because they're horrible looking.
One of those trees along the 50 side was taken out by Washington Gas as part of their project. They told us they would have to do that. But hopefully it wasn't a hugely valuable tree, but yeah, that's one more that's gone.
Well, they took out two.
They
They took out two, and they were big ones, and they were beautiful trees.
One of them was American holly, which is a valuable tree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's gone, but
Okay, I
I mean,
wasn't aware of
I
what
would
kind of
have loved
trees
to have
went
those on
down.
my bank.
Yeah, we didn't really have a choice, unfortunately. Gas company said, hey, it's our right away, we're gonna do it.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, we'll see if we can include something along that side in our next landscape initiative. Okay, any questions for Estelle? Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Estelle, after the spring and summer, when it's green, do you take objections to it?
They ain't nothing but weeds and
It's
poison
still
ivy.
green,
Huh?
it's still green.
No,
messy. She's right.
It's a catch-22.
If
It-
you don't
it
live
acts like a
over there,
barrier,
y'all's
but it's-
section
it-
over
I mean,
there
it's just
looks
not-
nice. Y'all
I mean,
got
it-
green trees
yeah,
and
it would-
everything
it
to
would
look
be
at.
different
We
if-
don't.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is what it needs to be spruced up, refreshed. And whatever we do, we need to balance those two needs of looking beautiful versus blocking some of the traffic noise from Pickett Road. And there's a way to do both. I mean, there are fences and things that we could consider. So we'll try to keep your perspective in mind when we look at that.
Well, we have that bus stop there too. That doesn't help the trash.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
nobody
the
ever
trash,
goes up there to pick out the trash that's laying in it.
Yeah, we need to have another trash pickup day. Hopefully we'll have that this spring. Somewhere in the packet it says April 25th is the City of Fairfax cleanup day. So I would appreciate if somebody would volunteer to organize a adopt a spot trash cleanup day for Foxcroft this spring. Because we didn't do one last year.
Foxcroft or Pickett Road.
Well, all the streets surrounding Foxcroft is what we do. Besides the adopt spot, we do the other streets as well. But we just need someone to organize it so that posters get put up and people get their coffee in the morning and get out there and pick up trash. One Saturday in April would be ideal. So let me know if you're willing, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else for homeowner forum?
My name is Erika Lindemann. I live in 9449, Unit 103. My concern is trash and landscaping. You're paying all that money on the landscaping. Do they ever take the dead wood out of the bushes and trim them down? I mean, the courtyard is a disaster. And trash hasn't been picked up for almost 4 weeks. A neighbor and I, we gathered all the limbs, the piles of limbs, but nobody comes around and cleans it up.
Which
And
trash?
cigarette butts.
Are you talking about the trash pickup that the contractor does or that our,
No, that's the one that's talking about the one that.
okay, what our contractor does, our employee, yeah,
It's pretty bad.
okay. We'll have to follow up on that. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Any questions for Erica?
What was the wash? Did you say the wash?
What did you say?
Did you say landscaping and what was
Landscaping, the bushes.
and what was the other thing?
Trash.
I
Trash.
mean, all the dead branches
Yeah, all
in
the
there,
dead
don't
stuff
they ever
that
gonna
it's
be
not being
trimmed
raked
off?
and cleaned up.
Is that something that Brightview should be doing?
Yeah, they do that for that stuff.
What they do is take the lawn and mow and run over 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's right.
I have-
everything.
I have video of them just
blowing leaves out and running it over with the lawnmower.
Yeah,
Yeah, and mulching it.
they don't pick up nothing. Paper, they run right over it and just let it fly.
All right. Anyone else for our forum? Yes, sir, Ryan.
For the record, in 9477, Unit 302, I was talking to Joe about this, but I have the biggest cockroach problem right now going on. I've had more cockroaches this past weekend in my 15 years living here. We're killing dozens and dozens a day in my kitchen. I don't know where they're coming from. It's crazy. Since October, it's been this bad. There's got to be a water issue, but somewhere in the wall somewhere for the cockroaches to be attracted to this late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
I also told him I'm having that water taste issue, and it was real bad in October, and that's when the cockroaches appeared. It has slowly gone away, and I'm getting it like every week or so where I'm getting this sewagey, metally, rusty taste in the water, and then it goes away for a little bit. So I don't know if the two are connected or if they're just it's a coincidence, but I just wanted to point it out. It's really bad right now. To the point where I try not to even inhale any of the water. It's just so bad because I'll get a bad, I don't want to say, I don't want to say it's bacteria. It's just my mouth tingles for like 4 hours after I brush my teeth, and the smell from the water from my mouth is disgusting. And so I don't know what's going on. I can't take it anymore, to be honest with you.
Does anybody else in your building have that same issue?
So I asked the people on the left side. They're not having that issue. It appears the people on my side, from time to time, Christine downstairs, she's tasted it. I don't know about the other people. The people on the front don't seem to have the trouble. It's people on the back side on my side. So, and other people I've asked, and a couple people that don't speak English very well don't really understand what I'm asking. So I don't really know who's really experiencing it versus who's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Well, Joe, has Building 77 had the cockroach treatment lately?
No.
That's something that we can.
We had it, and
Right.
It
it
didn't
went,
work for a while.
and now, I have working that comes in, and I have them every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks on Monday, like clockwork, and the people 2 or 3 right beneath, they do the same thing. And since I've had that for every 2 weeks, I'll see maybe 1, 2 per week, something like that. It was really, really bad. Now it's gone, but it's something I'm not going to stop doing because it's that intense a problem. So I don't know that there's any solution that we have for a building or as a community other than, you sent the information about if you go to the Associates website, they have as Lane Norman's part of that, you can get a deal with Orkin, a pretty good deal for monthly pest control, where they'll come to your unit.
But that should be my responsibility.
Well, unfortunately, we can send the people in like they did on my building and bomb the building, and it knocked them out for about 3 weeks. And then boom, they were right back.
But there's got to be an issue that's bringing them into the building. And this time of year, it's moisture. So there's got to be some sort of pinhole leak or the drain pipes. I know in my kitchen, when I connected my garbage disposal, the pipes are so rusty and brittle that I can't imagine what's going on way down at the bottom where everything collects and stuff. If there's a hole where water is now, starting to get moisture into the building or something. I don't know how you would fix something like that.
Yeah.
Is there any place where there is water standing observable around your building?
I went outside yesterday when it's been dry for a while. I'm not noticing anything.
That's what makes it tricky. If we had a puddle, then we could get the plumber out to investigate.
Well, I'm wondering
So,
if they can look up through the drain pipe to see if there's because you'd have to go down on the bottom floor unit. I know there's a drain stack that has a clean out in it. Is there an issue going on?
We had them use cameras in the sewer line for another issue just last month. Joe, we might be able to do something.
And you come right at stacks from the top to the bottom. It's a straight shot. It's not gonna go.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know what's causing it. I've never had an issue really. One or two every month or so. Yeah, big deal. I can live with that. But dozens a day, big and small. I mean, some of them are like this big. They're huge.
Mhm.
Any new neighbors?
Huh?
Any new neighbors?
So Christine downstairs has gotten some. The people on the other side of me are not getting them, and the people in the front are not getting them. So to me, there's a fire block wall, so that would keep anything going on my side from getting over to their side anyway. So I don't know if the water issue and the cockroach issue related. I just want to say I can't live like this anymore. It's just to the point of where I'm like sitting on the couch and I see a cockroach crawling across my carpet the size of,
Yeah, no,
like half your hand is how
Yeah,
big
no,
it is.
I mean, I had exactly that. I mean, I had it where we turned the lights off and you went out there in the middle of the night and you turned the lights on, the floor moved. I mean, it was really bad. I had, I was getting those sticky traps, kind of
I tried them, they didn't work.
well, the ones I had areas where they were really effective and I was capturing like, in a week, I was capturing 20, 30. I mean, it was really, really bad. And so that's, we treated the entire building and it knocked it down. Didn't eliminate it, knocked it down, but then it came right back. And to the point where, like I said, hey, enough, I can't deal with it anymore. So that's, I got working tonight. I pay every 2 weeks they come in. And ever since I've done that, I've done it for 3 months. Now, next to nothing. So, I mean, it sucks. But I think the only way of, at least that I've experienced, to be able to do it is there's nothing from a community aspect that we could, unless we said, okay, hey, pay to have every building, every unit treated every month, and just kill them to try to knock them out completely. I don't know any other way of doing it because we tried a couple buildings and seemed to knock them down but not eliminate the problem.
Okay.
So,
Well, if we find a water source, then if
Yeah,
we
that would
eliminate that, then that
Yeah,
would
that
make
would
a
be a
noticeable
big
That's the only thing I
difference.
can think of.
yeah, that other than that, that's the thing that's attracting them.
Okay, we will investigate that
Thank you.
for you. Okay, anyone else wish to speak to homeowner forum?
I just have one more question
Uh-huh.
about this. When are y'all planning on doing the front entrance and maybe doing something down in front of our place?
We talked about it starting a few months ago, and then we got to the point where we needed a survey to tell what the topographic layout is of the front and where you can put a wall. So we got the survey done a couple months ago, and Brian's actually here tonight to talk about the results of the survey. So hopefully we can move forward with some plans after this. Okay, let's see. Patrick, did you have anything for open forum already? Okay, if there's nothing else for open forum, we will close the open forum portion of the meeting. Thank you all very much for your participation. And we will move on to minutes, which brings up an interesting point. We don't have a secretary tonight.
No
And
minutes.
since I don't want to talk, I'm going to write the
Okay.
notes for the minutes.
Okay,
And
so
hopefully
you want me to talk?
so I can type them up. So I'm going to hand off the talking part to Rob at this
Okay.
point.
So we'll go previous month minutes. Well, the minute person isn't here. Ruth's not here, and she's
Yeah,
the
there were none
secretary.
in the packet.
Have none in the packet, so we'll skip that over for now. So then we go to board committee reports, or what? Let's see here. Correspondence to the association. Okay. First thing we have is the what we were talking about, the homeowners, the community appearance committee. Which, by the way, Community Appearance Committee is a fantastic committee. It's the best committee that we have
Which
in
one
the
are you
city
on?
of Fairfax. Oh, that's the one.
Oh,
I'm on.
that's
That's right. Oh,
What a coincidence.
yeah, it's some coincidences. Yeah, so we actually have this cleanup day, and so I have to find out. This is my zone, so whether I supervise from a city perspective, the group that is put together here, that remains to be seen. But I'm going to be in this area, in the Fairfax Circle area, going around the different zones because that's my responsibility.
Okay.
So, but it is something we appreciate as a appearance committee that we can get communities, neighborhoods to participate. So, like you were saying, Bruce, it'd be nice if we had a group step forward and say, hey, we want to do it. Maybe we can put a notice on the bulletin boards or something that, we're looking for volunteers or something like that, whatever,
Yeah,
to get some
that's-
kind of,
That's a good
Thanks.
first step.
so, 'cause we definitely need some people to step up, so. And this, of course, is the application forms and all that kind of stuff. So, let's see, what the next thing is here is Civic Association, Emergency Management Outreach. Let's see, Walter English. Your meetings, okay, it's something we can talk to them about, whether we want, because I think we had talked about having like representatives, city representatives like police or something come to meetings and address the community, whatever. We had talked about doing something like that, I think, at prior meetings. So this is just an invitation. We'll just have to discuss that later in the session, whether we want to do that. Let's see, get here. Let's see. Not sure if this is a
Looks like page 10 is, I'm not sure if we have that application. Hey, Joe, can you tell us about page 10? Is this something we looked at
Caesar,
last month? or-
Yeah, that was the unit with the 2 dogs and was supposed to bring some certification.
It's a
Yeah, that
support
was-
animals, so that's the letter to get the approval of the animal.
Right,
the
to
bull.
have the second,
It's supposed to be one animal,
One,
but he's
right.
got
the second one is supposed to be for emotional support,
support, okay.
and that's the certification for him.
Oh, okay, there's 2 different names in this unit. I don't know if this rings a bell, but in our January packet, we had these 2 forms.
Oh, yeah.
One for the Dalmatian and one for the chocolate lab.
I look like a poodle.
Okay. Let's see, there's Pablo and George. Those are
Pablo
their
and
names. And
Have
it's
you seen the dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
5504.
Okay.
I think we noted the weight on,
They've been, both of them for weight, they get the certification for the weight and all that kind of stuff, have they done?
Yeah, it's all good there on
Okay.
the,
And they meet the requirements?
yeah, unfortunately, one of them is 40 pounds, so it's overweight. But if it's emotional support animal, we have to
We gotta get the
accept it.
waiver, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay, well, with that, we're gonna have that on file in their unit, we got that letter?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, next thing is this test report for the heating oil tank, so they did the underground test, Joe, for the.
Right, that's for the storage tank.
Yeah.
There was little. They had this is the sample of. So even though it doesn't get required, but they're suggesting that we need to filter it and then get the waste out of it.
And refill it, like to drain the tank and like clean all the particulate out?
Correct.
Okay, do we have somebody that can do that?
From the same company.
Oh, same company will do that with,
It's
and eight for
about
1850, okay.
So, I mean, it's.
We'll have to add that to the new business, I guess.
Well, it's, I suppose we could decide right now since we might not remember it later. Corey, in your experience, is this recommended?
It certainly can't hurt. I don't have a lot of experience with this type of thing.
And when was the last time it was done?
Last year.
Oh, last
We
year?
do it
Oh,
every year.
oh, we do it, oh, okay, well, we're doing it every year. So
Yeah,
what did we pay last year for it?
It was around the
Is
same.
that the same thing? Oh, okay, well, it's a good annual thing. It's that time of year, basically.
Ironically, we're really not using the heating oil tank this
Correct.
year because we only have to use it when it gets.
Yeah, don't Don't jinx it.
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to?
So what happens if we wait 2 years?
Well, what happened is the city inspector comes in here every year.
So they just have to do
If
it
he
next.
comes in and I don't have that, he's just going to write a report. And
Then we'll have to do it.
About to do it.
You'll have
So,
It's gonna be done any way you look at it.
yeah, they have something.
All right. Is there a motion?
Yeah, make a motion that we have the oil storage tank cleaned and filtered. Was it Leighton O'Brien? Is that the company?
no, it's Holbrook.
Okay. Oh,
So-
Holbrook. Oh, by
Yeah.
Holbrook Environmental for a cost of $1,850.
I will second the motion.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
So they have to do it every year.
Right.
Why?
Because it's required.
No, I understand, but why aren't we doing anything to stop it from having to do it every year? So where is all this coming from?
It's just
Well, it's in the tank. It's
No,
still
I
tank.
understand it's in the tank.
Right.
They're gonna pump it out. They're gonna filter it, then they're gonna put it back in. And then we're gonna pay them next year to do the same exact thing.
yeah. It shouldn't.
So
No.
why are we? Why it's a closed tank, right? I mean, it's not like something can crawl into it.
I mean,
Well,
Well, I'm asking why why can we?
Where does this come from? How
can
does
it
it
be
develop?
prevented?
That
Well,
it's instead of
right.
on the top of the surface, you have different covers in there.
Yeah.
You know, and when we get rain or snow or something, some amount will seep through. And ever since it was constructed, it's been like that.
Is there any way to
Every
fix it or seal it?
Well, what we could probably do is maybe put a sub pump, but unfortunately, with the oil in it, you can't
You
pump
can't pump it out.
into the storm drain. So it becomes like a catch-22.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's not. The tank is not leaking, which is the major.
No, so I'm.
It's
I mean,
just
we have to
not
seal
out.
the tank.
It gets-
We have to seal the top of the tank better, right? Because it's just
You would think that you'd be able to get better seals on the openings, the hatches, kind of thing. You know, replace the seals on that so that it wouldn't allow mitigation of moisture and water.
yeah. Like I just don't understand. So I'm sorry. I just don't know. Like this to me is a recurring cost that we should spend to not have it be a recurring cost.
relative on
Yeah, it's
on-
really not-
It's just oil, right? It's just and we fill it up and they're
Yeah, we feel that. Oh yeah, I know
yeah.
too oil.
I mean, so we're allowing
And also, it's not. They're not recommending. It's just that they want to, let you bring to your attention that
Yeah, oh,
you
yeah,
have
no.
oil and you have water getting into the oil.
Yeah, so the
Makes
question
sense.
would be is we would have to clean it out prior to, like, let's assume we don't have to use it this season because of the mild winter. We would have to look at the fall, doing this maybe in the fall, getting it prepped for winter, which is really what it should be. This should be done in preparation going into the winter season because we don't use that oil in the summer, do we?
No.
Okay, so why don't we schedule this for like October so that we get it prepped as part of an ongoing thing for getting it ready for the
that's
season.
scheduling. We can schedule at any time.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
because-
how about we do that?
When does the city come back to check
Yes.
that?
Sometime in the month of February, but right now there's no report of any leaks, so we should be
So
fine
it'll
with
be
that.
We're fine.
It's-
Yeah, I like your
do
suggestion.
we have to have rubber gaskets on it to
Yeah, let's-
seal it?
Let's look at it.
so that
Getting
we
ready
don't-
for the next season.
Okay, how do we make this happen? So we want to get the oil tank ready for next season in about October of this year. So at that point, we'll have Holbrook do the service and also try to seal the doors better. How do we put that on our schedule so that it gets done in October? I have no way to do that really.
Well, I can put it on my calendar, but also if we tell the contractor, hey, we'd like to spend money with you at this time, they'll probably put it on their calendar.
Okay,
Let's do
Yeah.
that.
let's tell the contractor we want to do it in about October, and you have a tickler for the board at that point. Do we need to vote on this today then?
I don't think so till it comes up in October because when we have the September meeting, we'll be able to, that's being scheduled. so we can approve it.
Okay, so we'll table this for now. If there's no objection. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, water intrusion roof replacement. Unit 9459, 102, sump pump.
Yeah, that's the unit that had moisture issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had that engineering company come in to recommend to us what needs to be done.
Okay.
And that's their proposal that to have a sub pump to install in front of the
Okay.
unit.
Did they have an estimate, a proposal, or whatever?
No, we now have to take this to get a proposal.
Oh,
This is what the engineer.
so we have to basically say to them, okay, can you give us a proposal for doing this?
Correct.
Okay.
Or any other company to give us a proposal to do that.
Okay. Now, these engineering guys, they would recommend somebody, because these aren't the guys who would put the sump pump in.
No.
Okay.
But
Do they have people that they would recommend to that, or is that something we've got to go out to, like DAF Plumb, whatever the plumbing guys that we use are
Yes.
all American, the people that are out there?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
We can just give them that information and they can give us a price. based on
Okay.
that.
I would suggest that we get some estimates to see exactly what it would be on this. Can you put out some requests for estimates on it? Okay. And then we can consider that when we get the estimates back.
Alrighty.
Okay. Dog barking.
What? Some.
Top priority. And then-
This dog barking isn't the same people that were in here earlier dog barking, was it?
No, this was,
It's another dog barking?
Yes.
Okay.
This would be in
My building.
this building.
I mean, this is the second complaint. The first complaint, I notified the owner upstairs and apparently it was
They just say
Resolved.
so solved?
right.
Okay.
And then-
once again.
But the problem here that we advised her to call the city. City animal control. But then they are telling her that he is now not to come to the association.
Hmm. And this is your building, Chad?
Yeah,
Okay, are you familiar with this problem?
no,
Okay.
it's on the backside,
Uh-huh.
Last meeting.
but that's a mean dog.
That's what you saw.
It's a little quirky.
Oh,
That dog went after my dog just 2 days ago.
oh, wow. Okay, I'm not
Fool
sure what,
dog.
Just a mean little dog.
okay, I'm not sure what the, because the only thing we can do is we can just indicate that the noise issue.
Well, I don't even know if they're being told because she's a renter.
Yeah, they didn't do it. This is the second complaint.
Oh,
Second
The
complaint.
first one was about a few months ago.
Okay, so this is a renter that has a dog?
yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so we need to send a letter to the owner.
Owner was sent a letter and
Okay.
he's aware. He informed the tenant
Okay,
and
and
they
nothing,
did
it
something and it was,
was cured, but now we have it again?
now it's
Okay,
coming back.
so I guess we
I
need to
live
send
out
out.
of there all the time, and I mean, I never hear a dog, so I don't know who's complaining.
Dog barking in 202, so this is, does she say which unit she was?
102.
Oh, 102, okay, so she's underneath.
It's
So,
Yeah.
yeah, John.
So I mean, you could probably just treat this as a separate incident from the first one, since the first one was resolved, and probably take those same actions.
yeah,
again.
send another letter and say, okay, it's repeated itself, and and let them know. See what happens. It's a challenge.
What building is that?
My building.
Your building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one we have is new land use case. Yay! Okay, you guys, anybody read about this?
No.
Okay,
McDonald's, yeah.
yeah, no, I met with the guy. I met with the owner of the McDonald's.
Ray Kroc?
Ooh.
Yeah, Red Croc, yeah. No, it's the guy, the people that own that McDonald's are the same ones that own the one next to Paul VI. And so I was talking to them. I was there, it was there Friday. And had a chance to talk to them for about 20 minutes. And what the proposal is that they are basically going to redo that entire building. Okay, if you've seen the one, the McDonald's next to Paul VI, okay, that's the exact style that's going to be on that. property, and they're gonna add a drive-through.
So they do not currently have a drive.
Yeah, no drive-through.
Much
And
to my
so-
surprise before last meeting.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Thank
Be
you.
careful.
and so, the thing that shocked me is that, one, they did, at this point in time, they do not have the land use proposal, the exact footprint and all that, and the traffic patterns and all that kind of stuff done yet.
Hmm.
So this has got to go before the planning commission, which I'm going to be at that meeting. So, but he also told me, I said, okay, so how long is this thing going to? He says they will have that thing torn down and rebuilt and up in 3 weeks.
I bet it.
It's like, wow. I went 3 weeks. He goes, yep, down. He goes,
They can only get the fire station done that soon.
yeah, I know.
Can't afford to forego the revenue more than 3 weeks.
Correct. Correct. So I said, my concern was, I said, is that since you're adding a drive-through, that's going to radically change the traffic flow pattern, because now, you know, you don't have as many people pulling in, but to go through the drive-through, you're going to have people pulling in, going past the front of the building, around behind, into the drive-through line, and back out to the circle. So it's going to increase, and, you know, which the reason they're doing it, they need to increase the business. Well, yeah, it's going to increase the traffic flow dramatically in that thing. And so that's the primary concern that I have with that.
I don't think it's gonna be low. I mean, they're you've got to go around to get to them. I mean, if you're not coming in from one way, you're going past them into Home Depot, up into it's
Chick-fil-A is worse than McDonald's.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Yeah.
question about it. Oh,
yeah. But the thing is Chick-fil-A's easy in and not easy out. McDonald's is not. I mean, no way, any way you cut it, they're on old. You know, I just don't see.
You're on the circle.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I see an uptick being able to do drive-through because let's face it,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah, so it's this is going to come back down the road, because it is not even close to the final approval, because it hasn't been considered by the architectural committee yet.
Maybe they'll have to buy that other piece of property.
I asked about that. I said, have you been in discussions with the guy, the property right next door, where they used to have I guess it was a Shell station or
Yeah.
something? It was on. They tore it down and they put the sign "Coming Soon." That, you know, building with retail, and it's never gone any further.
No one's bought it.
Well, primarily because they have to do a expansion similar to Chick-fil-A with the retaining blocks to build more land that they can build the building on, because there's not enough space there to put the building and adequate parking. So I asked him if he had talked to the guy or the owner of the property next to him, if they had considered working something out, and maybe the configuration of both things to better utilize that space, and he said he hadn't. So that's one thing I want to do when it goes before the architectural committee, to see if maybe they would consider merging the two things and having them work together to kind of configure it so both work, as opposed to these independent things, which really they're not working together.
So do you think we need to prepare anything?
No, I'll have a report for you guys after they have the
Planning commission?
planning commission. Yeah, because they already have a letter from one of the communities up the hill that doesn't want it to happen at all. But that's not surprising, because what we had to go through to get the Wawa approved was, if that took a year to get that project all finished. So that's, which, by the way, that's coming, if you ever knew it.
Oh, yeah, I
It's the roadway motel where the fencing is. That's,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, because on January 14th, we got the final approval for the
I think
Wawa.
I put a wash in that tank.
Car wash?
Yeah.
No, it's got it's got 12 gas pumps, and
Just everybody.
More-
Wawa. Yeah.
and there's going to be a traffic light added at Spring Street. And as soon as that traffic light goes in, the
Another.
people that own Fairfax Circle Shopping Center, the one where the Lottie place used to be in the bowling alley and the Popeyes, they're just basically waiting to see how Scout in the Circle goes before they blow that place up and redo it and create that. It's going to be Scout on the Circle 2. It's going to be a multi-use residential kind of thing, and there's going to be a road that goes Spring Street. It's going to go through across to Old Lee Highway, and that'll be so if you wanted to go coming down Route 50 heading east, instead of having to go to the circle and turn at Old Lee Highway, you're going to be able to cut through that community in the future. So,
You know you appreciate that.
oh yeah. This area, the city of Fairfax is planned for. Are you familiar with the zone program that they're doing with this? Okay. City of Fairfax adopted a program where they're doing development zones in the city. They have Old Town, which downtown, like University Drive, and where all the downtown. They have what is it called? Oh, crap! Where the shopping center is across from the McKay Chevrolet.
North
Okay, Norfax. That's it. Yeah, Norfax.
That's
And
already being redeveloped.
well, they had a plan for it, and before that was completed, its construction, the contract fell through. So Amazon/Whole Foods is not going in there.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame because they won't tell us. They won't tell the city who is taking over that grocery store. They just merely will say that they have a grocer leased for that space.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's going to be, another grocery store like we already have. So it was supposed to be a go-to destination with the Whole Foods, but long story. So they did these zones, Camp Washington, the one up at the intersection of 236 and 5029, which is under development now. And then Fairfax Circle is the 5th zone. So each one has a different kind of dynamic. This one is along the lines of Mosaic. So they're trying to get Fairfax City's version of Mosaic.
And in which way are they salivating over our piece of property here, our 18 acres that we have?
I don't know that they're salivating over it because we're already what they would classify as high density. So they're trying to get like Scout on the Circle. They like Circle Towers, which is now true.
That's county.
That's out, correct. But I mean, they're looking at an area. So Scout on the Circle, and they want to get that area over on Fairfax Circle Shopping Center. So this area is high density commuter or walking pedestrian kind of stuff. So there should be like a grocery store over there, shops, all that kind of stuff. So, enhances what we have now, plus enhances the value of the land even more, coming to the point where, hey, when that is all done and everything, then this could be worth a lot more. So either way.
Joe, you've been busy on patio.
Oh, yeah?
It's like the
Take a
patio
stroll.
I'm like,
Patio
one in every
place.
building. Like, you're making up for the washing machine downfall in revenue. Like,
Well, you get two.
what's up with this people storing stuff in the hallway? And this is like, this is the second one. Well, this is storing trash.
Trash sucks.
And then who was storing?
Yeah, you had like a
You can't keep anything in the hallway.
cabinet.
By the way, we skipped page 20, which was the request for the hearing about the squeaking floor. And I told Joe we might as well schedule that for the next meeting. And so that'll be before the March meeting.
Yeah.
Bill.
And on page, where are we? 47 is stationary. Oh, okay. It's actually the same person. Page 48 is about the dog. So that's why we got the emotional support note.
Oh, okay. I think there's that covered. Yeah, 49 we don't have to worry about because we are doing the bushes for them. But
Already
the
did the
satellite, but satellite dish thing they can't use because the channels that they wanted to get are Middle Eastern thing, and the satellite faces the front of the building, so they can't put up a dish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so a little bummed about
I
that.
thought they would have ideal satellite because they face the south.
Yeah, no,
Very few
surprisingly.
next year do.
Well, it's a dish network thing, and it requires being pointed really more to the far west than it is the south. So,
East to west.
yeah. So they really can't do it, unfortunately.
I like page 60 where we get somebody to replace their defective faucet, which could act as a crossover.
It was this where we were doing all those hot water things and we found all
Right, this
these.
was
The
all
flu
of
was
the,
the same thing.
Yeah, so this was basically the litany of, as we were doing those hot water
that
renovations,
we're going to
they check each
units,
building.
and then whatever they find out, it's a crossover unit.
Okay.
We know them and then let them correct us.
And actually, cover correcting a lot of those, right?
Yeah, this one here from the,
Okay, so we're up to a community manager report. Page 65. Okay, Joe, Corey, what do we got here?
Hello.
Hi there.
This was a decent amount of trees this time around.
I feel like we might be getting closer to our money's worth from Lego Norman. So.
Uh-huh. Yeah, keep printing.
Okay, anyway.
So I think in the interest of time, I'll hit some of the highlights.
Okay.
One thing that you may have noticed was the pretty multicolored chart. This was a comparison of the Washington gas usage from essentially year 2018 to year 2019.
Uh-huh.
The average use is lower for year 2019. I wouldn't say significantly lower from these initial figures.
Uh-huh.
I'm really more interested to see what happens this year now that we have this going full time.
Mhm.
So that got done. That was letter G.
Okay.
Yay. I'm a little curious how the Verizon lines are going. I haven't heard anything, but since we have one of the experts on whether or not Verizon people are cleaning up their mess in the room.
It's left. No. I take the chuckling as
If you walk to the front of the building, it's like 4 buildings up.
Uh-huh.
They have that little chase box.
Mhm.
An installer put a gray box attached to that chase box, and then ran the fiber.
This is on the front of the building?
Yeah.
Because I thought the front, we had the things where the wires were coming out of the ground or each thing.
And yes, it
This is
popped off
outside.
and
I guess another question I had, do I remember right, and I may not, sometimes I get them jumbled up with the different properties, but do I remember you saying that you had a line on a contractor who had said, contact me if things look bad and I'll
No, I did. I did,
No,
and I
Rob
did, and I
David
gave.
gave me, I got in touch with him, but no response.
Oh, no response?
But I was able to get the area manager who corrected that broken cover on the files box.
Okay.
I took some pictures on some of the buildings where they have some lines sticking out and stuff, but
Mhm.
he looked at it, no response after this time.
Okay.
well, so down over on my end, it looks like they're gonna run new wire under.
Where they have put the paint on
Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing some repairs on that box last Friday.
No, they
So-
got a gutter line coming out of that box running to the building.
Right, but it's not there now.
Yeah.
They had something going there, but they were working on it, so whatever it was, it's.
Yeah, there must have
The
screwed
line is
something.
not-
Yeah, they screwed something up in the installation.
Yeah.
Shocker.
I mean, there's a building on the one-way street where it looks like they took the fiber optic, ran it through the brick, nice colorful, natural colored brick, and they took a white smear of caulking material and smeared it all over the brick. Did you notice that yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like the
Yeah.
2 buildings up this way where one came through the wall, went up
Right.
over the door, and then shot straight up to the 3rd floor. and then one drilled through the brick, went over and went up to the second floor, and then drilled through the brick again.
So I'll get with you about that.
Yeah,
So
so
I
I
can
just,
follow
but
up.
I got information on him, man, I got his email, so.
Yeah, and I've got some folks up at the corporate office that maybe I can set to
Oh, okay.
call and motivate him further. Not only for here, but I have another property that needs help with that too.
Mhm.
So that would be great. Vendor contracts list, as well as project list prioritization. The vendor contracts list is in progress. I'll have it for the March meeting. Project list, I'm working on that, but I saw this beautiful packet and thought maybe we could talk about that in March. I did hear back from the laundry folks and the facts and figures that they sent us, which you can see on page 67. You match what we show, so it appears that the income is down. I was not super excited about the length of time it took for them to get back to me about that, but you know, things happen sometimes. People get busy. I did also include a copy of the contract on page 68 and 69, and I just wanted to point out maybe something the board wants to consider moving forward, but if we want to avoid auto renewal or penalties on this particular contract, we would need to serve a notice of termination no later than April 1st.
What we have going for us right now, I think is pretty good though. It's not the most expensive community for doing laundry. The machines seem to work.
Yeah, I don't have any major concerns. However, laundry contracts are always long-term things, and they give you a bonus when you sign it, usually, like a decorating bonus or whatever, or they agree to replace some machines and that sort of thing. So we should probably put it out, or at least go back to Caldwell and Gregory and try to get a better deal.
Okay, but if you do replace the machines, don't they have to be front-loading machines now?
No, when we got this contract, front loaders were all the rage, and we insisted on top loaders because of the mold and mildew issues and this problems people have with front loaders. So we have our choice, I think, on that. Probably the most unique thing we did, all the other laundry vendors would pay you a bigger percentage of the revenue, but they would take more on the back end, it seemed. And I kind of like the way Caldwell and Gregory does it, which is we're going to give you our minimum, and we're going to take our minimum, and then whatever's left over, we'll give you 90% of it. And so one thing we thought of was we actually dropped the rates. I think they were $1.50 wash, $1.50 dry before we went into this contract. And the thinking was that if we make the laundry less expensive per wash and per dry, people will be less likely to be tempted to get their own washer and dryer in their unit, and they'll maybe use the equipment that we have a little more often. Like, well, I can do 2 loads, it's only $1 a load.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was that if we increase the volume, the numbers would come out to our favor. And I think they have. I mean, we're earning a couple thousand per year over the minimum. But that's something to consider if we're ever tempted to raise the rate. But it is interesting, the fee is based on $1.35 average per machine per day. And so the question is, am I more likely to get that $1.35 if the wash costs $1.50, or if the wash costs $1 and 2 people use it instead of 1 person? So,
Well, I guess the question is do we want this to be a profit center, or are we looking for it to be something where it's a break even, or it's
right. I think in the past the boards have looked at it as a profit making thing. And what I argued for last time we did this contract was, we shouldn't be making a profit off laundry. Well, laundry is something that we're inconveniencing every single person who lives here with, because we're telling them you cannot have your own washer and dryer unit like everybody else does in modern housing units. You got to use the laundry room. So let's, make it just barely cover our costs and make it a.
I just wonder why
Amenity.
it's going down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
I mean, that's, it's not like,
Because we were making obviously positive profit right up through October,
and then all
and
of a
then
sudden,
November and December goes down big time. So my question is there someone taking some of the revenue perhaps? Because I know I asked the question in my own building, and I was told that someone breaks into the coin boxes in my building on a repeated basis.
My building, I reported to
That was
Caldwell if someone punched out the lock, but they punched out the lock to the credit card reader, not the coin bill.
hmm And in my building, the credit card reader has been detached, and we weren't able to use the credit cards on more than one occasion this year.
Hit and miss.
But if it's $1 per wash and $1 per dry, shouldn't the revenue collected be an even dollar amount? So I was going to ask, does this include credit card processing fees? That would explain it if it does.
Keep in mind also that it's collecting 90% of that amount over.
Bruce, with the dryer, if you put your dollar in it, you'll get your time allotted. You put another quarter in, you get another 15 minutes of drying time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well that'll explain why it's not even a quarter amount, but it's down into the pennies. I know.
Well, I see also the other reason is that they have a minimum that they're due. So if the revenue is below that, they withhold. Like we had, you can see December and November, we were minus $500 and minus $21. So those 2 months we didn't hit the minimum that they are supposed to get from the usage of the machines. So it's not like, hey, if somebody uses it, only once, hey, we get 90, they get 90 cents, we get 10 cents. It doesn't work that way. We don't get any money until they hit their minimum guarantee, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I thought this revenue collected is the total revenue they collect from the machine, and then they deduct the minimum due to Caldwell and Gregory and pay us the difference.
Yeah, well, if you look at like the one December 30th, 2019,
Mhm.
collected $57.85. The minimum that was due was $63.18. So
it's a rolling, so they pay out commissions, but they roll, so are they rolling, they're rolling the losses into the next month so that the number increases? Because the minimum collected due should be the same number every month. If it's $1.35 a machine, multiply that by 4 by the
No,
number of
it's-
buildings.
yeah, no, but
$1.35.
the usage isn't
It's-
consistent.
Well, it's $1.35 per machine per day. So the
Yeah.
factor is the number of days in collection each period.
Right,
Yeah.
by 4 machines per building.
Yeah.
So I mean, a bunch of these days should be,
Well, notice the column 2, the number of days in the collection period. That's all over the map. It's not nice 30-day months.
what's 60 minutes?
So they didn't take a reading in February. So by March, there were 2 months worth in one bill. But okay, they got $10,000 out of the combination of the coin boxes and the credit card fees. 9,600 was due to them, so they gave us the 392, and the last column commission paid 392, and that's the number we see on our budget spreadsheets sometimes.
Right.
And I think in a month where we owe them, they don't take any money from us. We just get zero that month. And that's what brought this to our attention. We noticed zero the last couple months and wondered why. Are we missing something?
Yeah, so we were below.
So I guess they would say that the reason is your usage has gone down. And my question is, why has usage gone down? And I'm also still concerned that someone is taking some of the revenue in some way.
Also, we have the unit in my building that used to run a laundromat service Monday through Friday.
They don't do it anymore?
They don't live there anymore.
So maybe that's
And
why.
then there was another unit somewhere down here that did the same thing.
If it's $1, a wash and dry, hey, you say to somebody, okay, hey, I'll do your stuff, and it costs them $5 to do it, and they charge $20. So they can run a nice little business out of their apartment doing people's laundry.
So,
Well, if that's what was
I don't
keeping
want
us
to do that
above the water line, then that was a good thing, I guess. Joe, you said that the coin box in my building has been vandalized, right?
Yeah, it was. That was 2 years ago.
Okay, are there other buildings where that happens?
Yeah, there was the 2 out of 3 buildings.
Anytime recently though.
Not recent.
All right, so we're talking about a
Okay.
year ago, 2 years ago.
Over a year ago.
All right, well, that's disappointing. Do we think we have a lot of people with units in their, with a washer dryer inside their unit? I only remember one person ever advertising that fact, which was in Rob's building. I think we took that out. Okay, well, we'll have to come back to this. I think we should, at next month's meeting, we should come up with a proposal, or maybe even before then, we should start negotiating with Cromwell
Don't forget,
to get a better deal.
What we have to do it by April 1st is the automatic renewal.
Right.
So we probably need to have some proposals presented next month to see what we want to do, because we're gonna have to make a decision. So can you get us, can we get some proposals?
Yeah, Mark. Okay.
too easy.
Maybe have them clean out the lens trap, send the dryers too.
Yeah, one of their specialties when we signed up with Colin and Gregory was we clean out your dryer vents better than any other company. So
Mine's never been touched, so
I've been
it's like,
disappointed to hear that.
and I've called them and asked them, and no, you can still see the pipes lined.
Okay. Is that the sort of thing that should end up in the minutes, or not really, because we didn't make a decision?
You could put it in the minutes that the board directed management to procure 3 proposals,
Okay.
however many you'd like.
All right, I'm sorry we interrupted you, Corey.
Yes.
Well, that's okay. I really come to the end of my
That's it.
presentation, except to say, I also wanted to say for the record, thank you to Joe, because Joe helped out a lot with a lot of the packet this month in terms of reaching out to folks and bringing in proposals and things like that. And it was much appreciated.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. So moving on to Joe. Your report, Joe. Anything?
Just a few things. Building 67 was there was a bed bug that was reported. So we inspected the building in terms of the hallways and the storage room and laundry rooms, and they all seemed to be okay. Then we had CIG, they came back and repaired that guardrail that was pulled away sometime. Finally, they came back and they repaired that guardrail. And as I said earlier, the Verizon was able to also repair that broken files box cover in front of building 63. We had a roof leak that was also part of, that's why we had the proposal from that engineering company to at least, because the roofs are starting, since about a year ago, we've got quite a few leaks. But we have, Bravo has done the repairs that is needed at this time. But I think we need to start looking for a replacement of the roofs.
Okay.
Where do they go?
And then we had Pepper Santana had to replace the programmable filter on the master antenna on the other side. So basically, that's what I have.
Okay.
Hey Joe, I got a question for you. How come there's an almost constant beeping from the boiler room these days? It's that high pitched alarm, steady alarm.
Yeah, it's number 2 boiler has been going on flame, and when it goes on the alarm, that's what the alarm sounds so loud. They are working on it. The problem is that they think they have to order a part. So, like for instance, today it kept. Usually, when it goes like that, you can reset it, and it will at least stop for a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
But today it was like continuously coming when you reset it. So Fidelity will be out here tomorrow in the first morning to work on that. But that's what.
Okay, yeah, I figured people were maybe resetting it during the day and then it goes off again overnight. It's gone off the entire weekend the last.
Yeah, it's been going on quite a number of times, more than what it should be doing.
But Fidelity's gonna correct that.
Correct.
Okay.
What's the 15K for? 2 boilers,
Two boiler
19
pumps.
pumps.
Before we had the hot water boilers, we had 2 pumps, and one of the pumps is the one that is being proposed. The proposal is they do the heating part to the heat exchanger, and the other one will also stir up that water in the heat exchanger. But since we have the summer boilers, this will act like a backup, just in case if the boilers were to fail for some reason, then we can go back to our old way of supplying the hot water.
Okay.
So it's not an emergency thing that needs to be. It's just
It's
something
suggested.
that, if you want to, put it back as a backup, it'll be there. If not, I think that it will be. It's just something that Fidelity just wanted to let us know that, hey, you have the old pump there, you don't need it now, but it's not there.
All right, it's actually under new business, so we will get to vote on it here in a minute.
Okay. So go to the old business.
Yay.
Okay, Foxcroft Colony sign, wall landscape. So Brian.
Hello.
Hi
I've
there.
been waiting for.
Can we call you Mr. Old Business?
Yes.
Do you want me to put the drawings out here so we can all kind of look at them?
Yeah, sure.
Let me, so I can sit on this side next to here.
Okay.
Here, use these as ways to hold the
Yeah,
paper
No,
down.
that's okay. I hold them the right way so they stay on their own.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. So I've created a 5-sheet set of drawings here. I do, actually, sir, can you bring my, thank you. I just have some questions. So I created a 5-sheet set of drawings here. Here's the survey that was done by my firm. We located all the utilities as well as the topography. And it was tricky. Boy, do we have stuff everywhere. So bottom line is this is the demolition plan. So we're going to have them remove the 2 stumps that were recently cut down, one from the gas company and one from, I think, a tree that the wind blew over. There's 3 existing trees, and for some reason the trees are not showing up on this drawing. I'll have to turn them back on. And then the leyland cypresses will remove. There's the 2 blue spruces we're going to remove. I'm going to suggest relocating the mailbox from right in front of our pillar to over here so that we can evenly put some shrubs on both sides so it looks nice and even. Yeah, it's just sitting on a concrete precast block. I'm not sure why it's on our side. And now that they've done this, it probably makes better sense to have it there anyway for those walking to. Over here, we had talked about removing this curbing and keeping this nice and straight so we get a little bit extra room in here. So I'm showing that, and then relocating the dumpster over to here, something so we can fit the path up to here. So that's our plan here for the demolition. Let's see. So now I have a grading plan and a layout and materials plan. This is a little closer in, so this is just for this area here. Let's start on this side. The retaining wall that Fairfax City built for building the sidewalk ends here. So I'm suggesting that we put a walkway down to here, do a little curb cut ramp, crosswalk, ramp back up, and the existing sidewalk that we have that goes this way and down this way, we connect to with a little flared ramp, so this is all nice and connect. Now, I cannot get ADA to work as far as if we wanted ADA compliance, you need to get down to 8.33% and put a handrail in. It's just too steep. I've tried many different configurations. Really, the only one that works is kind of doing a switchback like this, but then no one's gonna walk like that to get up. They're just gonna bypass. So it doesn't have to be ADA compliant per se. Technically, our ADA compliance could be.
Yeah, we can not even do this and just do the.
Well, if someone really wanted to, take their wheelchair up and gain access to the, they could do it that way. To me, this is, people are going to cut through here. I do it personally. When I do walks around, I come down through here to get in. So 10% is not that steep. An ADA ramp is 8.33%. So to me, this makes sense from the standpoint of just how people are going to use it. And that new light that crosses over to Mosaic, or to our mini Mosaic across the street, is going to be right there. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, I think there was a suggestion from the board the last go around about the fencing, if we could run this fencing all the way up. I couldn't get it to work and make it look right. So my suggestion right now for the fencing is to just have it on both sides of our pillars and to do some landscaping, and I'll show you the landscape plan in a minute. So our existing columns go from here to here. So one of the questions I have is, if we do just run the fencing from here to here and from here to here, do you want another column here and here, even though there's a column kind of behind it? Or do we just stop the fencing like that? And the reason why I did not run the fencing all the way down is the grading. Essentially, that you can see the contours dip down, and we don't have a lot of room to regrade down. So the fence kind of dips below grade as it heads over there. So from Fairfax Boulevard, it's going to look like it's falling down the hill. And that's the reason why we didn't go down this way with the fencing, is just the grades don't work. The other issue is landscaping. If I put a fence through here on our side of the property, it doesn't leave a lot of room for putting trees and shrubs. And quite honestly, you're going to just see a fence the whole way on our side because there is no room.
Are we going to be able to do enough landscaping to
Yes.
kind of create a privacy, kind of like a hedge kind of
Yeah, so why don't I go right to the
green
landscape?
barrier?
Why don't
That's
we
what
go-
I don't really like this because that's going to be a lot of foot traffic as it already is there, but
Okay.
it is what it is.
So I know we have the old plan here if we want to look at it, but one of the things that we had it really planted before, and you guys kind of said tone it down a little bit. So this is our toned down version. I have it nicely color coded so it'd be easy to understand. So with the trees that are currently there, which you're seeing in the grayscale color, those would all get removed. And with our fencing here, I'm going to suggest a nice little green velvet boxwood hedge in the front. There's a couple of those same boxwoods we have right outside the office door. Right in front of the fence with some ornamental trees. We can go cherries, we can go dogwoods, we can go magnolia. We need something that's going to stay low because on this side we have the power lines. So what I wanted to do is do some evergreens to kind of block that. That one thing that's nice about that spruce is it kind of hides that utility pole that's right there. Mm-hmm. But the problem is it technically isn't allowed to be planted there because it gets so big and whatnot. And you can see they've chopped it off. So I was going to put some evergreens back in here, but then I'm like, well, what's the point of putting the fence in if you're going to evergreen? And so I came up with a solution here that just kind of, we do a nice mirrored front entrance on both sides of our pillars. And this kind of gets a little bit more park-like, a little more, rhythmic, but yet will add, I guess, a kind of a parky looks like our community. It kind of pulls from that aesthetic. So we have some larger shade trees here. The smaller yellow ones are ornamentals on this side, and down here. I'm proposing Amelanchiers. They're a more upright growing. They're a native tree. They get beautiful white flowers early in the spring before anything else does. And then the fall color is this beautiful red. So it'll help with some of the screening. On this side and on this side, I'm proposing we do American Arborvitaes, the beautiful kind of pyramidal shaped evergreens. If you go up there, Fairfax Boulevard to Arlington Boulevard, turn left onto Nutley, head towards the Safeway. There's somebody's house is right there on the corner with the white fence, and then right along on the back of the property, there's those nice arborvitaes. So what's going to give us some instantaneous screening with the utility pole that's right here, and with the utility pole that's right here, is putting these arborvitaes in. That'll kind of give us some instantaneous blockage of that. And then also there's the one-way or the two-way street that kind of comes up here, and that'll kind of help with some of that. So we have these existing evergreens that were planted in here. So we're proposing to kind of add to that, to add to the screening along there. And then there's some nice shrubberies scattered throughout. I'm going to propose hydrangeas, something that'll get about 5-6 feet tall, nice mound, beautiful summer color, and then in the wintertime, that kind of dead flower foliage in combination with our evergreens will be a beautiful combo. So I'm going to put some of those here, and then they're going to scatter around there. So what we had talked about here was just kind of cleaning up this mess here. Really, what I would propose doing, the knockouts are still doing well, but the azaleas and the ground covers, just wipe them all out. Put some of the hydrangeas that we're going to put in here behind because they take a little bit of shade. And then just putting a nice row of lawn. Just do some sod right in the front there and just cut it off. And that just simplifies the look. So the knockouts, the hydrangeas, and with the evergreen Nellie Stevens will be a nice combination. And just let it go from there. In the center here, and again, I'm going to talk this all out, and then you guys can kind of jump in and ask questions. I've seen this now run over about 16 times this winter. So I'm going to propose one of two things. One is we dig it out and put some nice lawn in there, or two, we concrete it. So we don't have to worry about, because putting any money into perennials, we've tried this before, it gets run over. Annuals, you're going to have to live with it for how many months after it gets run over until we switch them out. So I'm just going to propose lawn as a simple, easy fix. So I'm dotting some knockouts at the main entrance here. And that's the reason why I want to move the mailbox, is so we can do a nice symmetrical. So we have knockouts here. We have the existing ones that are here, and scatter a few here and there along here. So there's a nice consistent theme. So
How much?
well, that's not for me to figure out. That's for you guys to hand over to a contractor, price out.
In your estimation, in your
Quite honestly, I haven't added this up, but I can do this tomorrow for you and add it up and give you an estimate based off the one you already had gotten. So one of the things I'd like to do is do a little bit larger upsize of vegetation to kind of get some more instantaneous screening. Especially with like the arborvitaes, so that we get a little bit more color immediately and a little bit more gratification immediately. And then a lot of the trees here, at least the front trees, get a little bit like a 10-footer, so that we can get, I think that would be money better well spent than putting columns on the end. I think your estimate before was like $2,500 a column. So you'd be spending $5,000 on 2 columns versus $5,000 into the landscaping. I think is money better spent. And if in the future you want columns, we can always add them, but you tell me what you want. I have there's construction details that showing the contractor how to build the curb cuts for cutting in here. I have some landscape details here for the notes and how to plant, so they have something to price directly from. I am proposing to raise the grade up a little bit here, so when we put this fence in and we put this fence in to match, it's at the same steady grade because this kind of drops off as it goes down here. So we'd be adding a bit of topsoil into here, and the same over here to put this access route in, a little bit of fill material. But other than that, I'm going to propose taking out the grasses here so that people don't get caught and hurt by cars going, because I know in the summertime when these grasses go like this, you can't see around that corner. And I know these guys have complained here about those grasses when Betty was still here. So I would just propose taking it all out and just making this topsoil and sod here. I'm sorry, no topsoil, keep the existing. So all in all, I've kind of loosened up the plantings. There's some openings, but yeah, there's still enough screening where I think it provides kind of some snazzy look to it. What's funny is I'm proposing the London plane trees here. They've already planted their London plane trees across the street, because so our side kind of has a little bit of their flavor already. Is there any questions or comments? Or I had some questions.
This is still with the existing wall, right?
It's existing wall there. Now, that's something. So I looked at that. It looks like the cinder block kind of comes up a little partial away because it was a retaining wall, and then brick goes all the way up. What I would direct, because it's hard for me to detail that because I don't know how far down, if there's a ledge or how that's all attached. It's almost like I just need to give a direction on the drawings to tell a contractor you're going to remove the cinder block to below grade. You're going to rebuild up with brick, and then redo the cap so that it, will all work, and be done with it that way. It's just a directive.
That's if we keep the sign. Is it you talking about the sign?
The sign wall. I
Yeah.
assume you're keeping the sign wall. Or
Yeah, we decided it's cheaper to keep it than to try to make a new sign.
Yeah.
And if it's not bothering anybody, then
Well, the good news is all this scare about utilities. I mean, we could put a sign wall back here and it would fit. So I'm not sure where Betty had said that there are a lot of things where there's utilities.
all right, she said underground.
It just does not. I mean, our utility locating. We have a gas line, that runs to these columns now after they did that, but the main gas line appears to be out and over. So we do have a gas line running through here, but we're still going to plant our trees above it. What else are we going to do? Otherwise, we can't get anything in there if we're going to. That's the big kicker is this gas line that comes through here. I'm not sure why it comes right through.
Yeah, well, the major cross-country gas line goes right underneath Pickett Road. So I think this is where Washington Gas ties in to the main feed.
Well, I mean, we had the Leylands that are there, and I guess they never come down.
But yeah, that's a major gas line right there.
So, first question, do we like the walkway? I think otherwise people are going to cut through here, so we might as well create an opportunity to push a stroller along here and get up there.
I very much like the walkway because I had been concerned all along as to how our people are going to get across the street to Scout. And you don't want them cutting across Route 50 midway, even though it's going to be tempting. You want to make it easy and nice and safe for them to go to the crosswalk at the light, the new light. So I very much like that. But how does it end? Because I think the elevation of the existing sidewalk is pretty high above our level
So-
there by the dumpster.
The elevation is 310.12. So I was going to do a raised crosswalk here, but the problem is I couldn't get the water to drain out through here. So we would have got stuck. So I had to do a regular curb cut on both sides. And essentially, we're at 310.12 and we're coming down to 306.48 at bottom of curve here. So there's about a 3.63 drop. So it's about 3 foot 8 inches almost from here to here. It's not too bad. I mean, 10% is very manageable. The walkways, I don't know what building units.
Okay, but I was worried that we'd end up with stairs at the end going up to.
No, we're going, it's a straight ramp up to that and meet that flush.
Well, that would be fantastic if we can do that, because that would make it really easy.
Now, if we took out another parking space, I could make this a little less steep, but I know parking's at a premium on this side, so I didn't mess with that.
I think I heard the entire community just say no.
Yeah. But I did understand that no one really likes that dumpster there anyway, so I took it upon myself to.
I take no objections to the dumpster.
I don't
We have-
mind the
we
dumpster,
have-
but
I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, we've,
I'm not saying a word.
Well, I think you guys had noted you'd move it just down next to the other one.
There is no other one.
there's no,
Well,
there's one on that one side.
so these people
There's that
have
little
this one.
island.
We have the one,
Yeah.
the dual one up front, which is virtually
Yeah.
equal distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that equal distance one is also dealing with the people on the one-way street.
I understand that.
Tell you what, we'll decide what to do about dumpsters later.
Well, the one thing I do like is that this dumpster would not be visible from the road.
That's the number one.
Yeah.
Right.
So however this gets moved, whatever. So
The other thing I really like is that I want us to look green as you go down Route 50 and look at all the new construction and the giant over in Scout. I want the other side of the road to look like, oh, that's a nice green place to live. So I think something fast growing like the arborvitae is a good idea. And I've actually read about London Plane Tree. I think I never heard of it till you mentioned it. And it's recommended for urban settings because it tolerates pollution very well.
and it'll grow in anything.
And we've had so many trees die around here lately that I think that's probably a great idea.
Yeah, we over here we have some of the native American sycamore. They're kind of cousins. So
Oh, that's right. Cool. London Plane.
yeah. So let's see. So how do you guys feel about the sod in the islands or concrete?
Concrete,
Just pave it over.
just pave it over.
We've already got the new crosswalk.
Crosswalk in there,
Right
and
across
then
it.
the speed bump.
Yeah, I noticed some idiot painted a bunch of orange on there because they must have been hitting the curb or something. And then someone tried to put like an arrow sign in there, which
Yeah.
kind of was ugly.
Yeah.
And that got run over.
Countless times.
Yeah. Okay. So the pillars. Do we want columns bookending this, or do we want to spend the money on the landscaping?
I'd rather see plants and pillars. Plants will take carbon out of the atmosphere.
Does that include the fence, or would not having the pillars preclude building a fence?
No, what I'm doing is just ending the fence with its
Okay.
own little.
Well, I thought we were gonna do pillars and then plant in between as the fence. I didn't think we were doing, we were,
I'm having fence, some sections for an ornament, as an ornamental, to kind of create a.
I think the idea was, well, at least when we talked about it in when it was at this point, was that people liked the fact that we had the metal picket on the new railings. The pool fence has it, is to kind of bring some of that to the front and connect it to the existing columns. It'd be 5 foot tall, so it's not going to be overpowering.
I like the look of the fence because it makes kind of the bookends there. But I think, as I recall, we talked about just doing pillars and landscaping, and that turned out to be a really expensive option based on the quote that we had.
oh, we're
Summer.
doing pillars, landscaping and fence here.
Well, the fencing,
So I am guessing that's gonna be a little more expensive than.
no, because I think what you guys had was a rhythm of columns,
Mhm.
and it was just a
No,
lot.
I was thinking the same thing, but it wasn't continuous all the way down on,
The only thing I'd be proposing is putting 2 columns on one on either side here to bookend the end. It doesn't have to. We already got our columns here. We already got the column that's at the end of this sign. So if we didn't put anything, I wouldn't have any heartburn.
all I know is we don't own it. If we all this is easement, so
What?
whatever we put in,
No, this would be, the columns would be on our side of the property. Here's our property line. right here.
easement comes in, right?
See,
We
What
have,
do you mean by easement?
so we may own this, but the city still has the ability to come, don't they have a 10-foot easement into the,
No. So they have to the right of way here. There's the access aisle here.
oh,
But
that's all them?
yes, this is all us. They have no right to come in here to do anything as far, unless there's some sort of easement that I'm not aware of.
I thought that's but we were already told.
Well, yeah, Jeff was referring to a thing because we were told that
They were
the
coming,
city had the right to do whatever they wanted to
yeah,
right on into our parking lot.
Well, they had the right to do this and tear all this out, and I think they were going to come in and do a sidewalk connection, but that was abandoned, is my understanding, right?
they have the,
So there's one thing else.
you can find this out for us, right? They have, I'm pretty sure if we pull the title or whatever, they have whatever the easement is into our property is, so I'm good with planting. I mean, building for me is, are we gonna have to,
It's purely aesthetic for the pillars. So
Well, I don't know if we need the pillars on either side, but I do like the couple sections of fencing so that
Yeah.
it looks like an entrance.
I do too.
It gives you a
And
kind
quite
of
honestly, if the sign needed to go away, the sign wall, we could put a nice wooden, attach it to the
to the railing.
to the
Yeah,
fence.
like an oval that says Foxcroft
Yeah.
Colony or something, make it look real kind of. Now, the only other thing we have to add, that we need to consider adding, well, actually, I need you to add to this because before we even do anything like this, we need to take this to the city because of what they did here with this, taking this down. Second thing, I talked to the city from here where Chick-fil-A is, okay? You notice that's where they stopped the Acorn lights.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I talked to them and they're considering doing the Acorn lights down here because they did it on Scout on the Circle. Scout on the Circle goes all the way down around the corner up Lake. And then they're coming down, they come down Pickett.
But that would be on this side of the sidewalk, correct?
Correct, but
Yeah.
but here's the question. Well, yeah. And here's the question that I have is if you can look at what the spacing is here, can we indicate where if they continue that spacing down, where those lights would be so we know how it integrates?
So you would think that would be a science, right? But if you see what they did across the street and,
Mhm.
and it's actually irregularly spaced. It drives me nuts as a landscape
Okay, well,
architect.
then if that's the case, okay, because I talked,
Hopefully we can get the plan.
well, we can do the plan. That's what I'm saying is because I talked to the city, I talked to the transportation, and I asked them. I said, "Okay, guys, hey, why?" Because I drove down from entering Fairfax City all the way up to the Walmart. Okay, on both sides of the road are the Acorn lights,
Except
for us.
well, except for right by the Germantown Road or the I don't know what they call it, Camp Washington. There's a section of that they didn't build the Acorns when they did.
Yeah, small set, but
Yeah.
I mean, the only other glaring thing is from
Yeah.
the Chick-fil-A
I
around
agree.
the corner too, because it comes down
Did
Pickett.
you notice tonight they finally put
And
the
it
lights
stops.
on
Yes,
across the street? Yeah.
but I asked him about that, and the guy said, when I talked to the guy who's in charge of that, he goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, come and take a look." And he came down, and he calls me about an hour later, goes, "I went down there," goes, "I took pictures," he goes, "We don't have lights there." I said, "That's why I asked the question."
You almost hit people driving in there.
well, that's the thing is, which is really crazy, is from here down is so flippin' dark. How many people have been hit?
Well, that's why I said the question. I said to him, consider from where it stops on Pickett, coming around that corner up to the Chick-fil-A. So if you have an idea,
So are they going to do Fairfax Boulevard too, or just the access road,
exactly the same way it is across the street.
which they did both? Well, they don't have an
No.
access road on there.
No, they don't. So it's going to be one line of lights.
So,
And it's going to be
then they wouldn't put them on the Chick-fil-A side then.
no. The Chick-fil-A is already there. If you look
Yeah,
at
but
Chick-fil-A,
stops.
But that covers the access road. It doesn't cover Fairfax Boulevard. If you
okay,
notice
whatever. Okay, well,
There's the Cobra lights on Fairfax Boulevard.
okay, well, where the light ends at Chick-fil-A, okay, that's the line that they're going to continue down.
Which makes sense because that's where the sidewalk is.
I know, but I'm saying Fairfax Boulevard. The other ugly part is those ugly Cobra heads that are those old rusty.
Yeah, I have no idea what they're going to do with that. I just said to them, "Hey, you have it in front of Chick-fil-A," and he goes, "Dot dot dot."
See, but the
Stop.
city hires their lighting consultant. They'll lay it out. I mean, I don't know what I can. I'm not.
Well, I mean,
don't
if
do
you had
lighting.
no, but I mean, if you had a suggestion, you said, "Boy, I'd like to see the spacing to be this way,"
I mean-
instead of whatever.
Yeah, if we can miss, I would probably have to put one there. If you could miss at least, put them between those two. That's all we really care about.
Well, since it's open, I'm just saying we have an opportunity. If there's something there's a certain way you'd like to see it that meshes with this, because I'd like to have create this whole thing and be able to take it to the city and say, okay, this is what we talked to you about the lights, guys. Here's what we're saying. First, you got to put the lights up. Second, by the way, while we're talking about the lights, remember how you bulldozed all our plants?
Yeah.
How about a little, and
Yeah.
Washington Gas? Hey, how you tore everything down? Can we get all three parties and go, hey, we're not asking for the full.
Now they did give
Okay.
us. They did give us the
Yeah, a couple of
The-
a couple of token
the hallways,
things,
yeah.
and
And we're gonna reuse those, and we're gonna
Yeah.
just incorporate it in there.
But this whole thing, just to let you know, this conveys with what the city is trying to approach the look of both sides of the street. Okay, so they have a vested interest in us doing this, so much so that it's not going to be that hard for us to get them to pony up something. I'm not going to say, hey, it's $20,000. Hey, we'll kick in half. But
Well, they did take out a considerable number of trees, so they should.
Correct.
They should.
and that's the argument we have is they took all this stuff out, guys. Hey, this is what we came up with. You have to do the lights to finish the lighting matrix. And this is what we proposed. And we paid the engineer, we paid you to do this.
Well,
we
technically I did for free.
Like, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm
you
saying
paid for a survey.
we paid for a survey and we've done this at our expense. So the city knows this is what we'd like to do. And then we can have their guys look at it and put their 2 cents in. And if they put their 2 cents in, they got to put more than 2 cents in.
So technically, a lot of the tree material, at least down here, is on their side of the property.
Mhm.
So it does take their permission anyway.
There you go.
We don't really have room on our side to do any plantings of considerable.
That's why I wanted to see what this is,
Yeah.
and if we could. The only thing that was missing was the continuation of the lights going down.
The,
so
the
that
lights are easy to modify based off of where the trees are. So typically, as a landscape architect, either the spacing of the lights will dictate how we do our trees. But if the trees like here, we want to be evenly spaced based on where we're
Well,
putting.
they're going to
them.
love it if you do it as few lights as they can possibly.
Well, there's a
because they don't want to put.
Yeah, but
The
there's a
city would- we're
safety
not just
standard
saying
to this distance and the recommended.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is based on. Their consultant would tell you that.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like people are not in favor of doing pillars on the bookends.
If it's not necessary, but I like the fencing.
Yeah, I agree with Rob.
So the tree type, do we have I wanted to kind of leave it up to the committee here. There's several options. If no one really cares, I can pick something out.
My bigger concern is, since we don't have this fenced, is try to force it. Even
Well, I
though it
think
comes to
once
my
we
front door, it's like,
Once
okay,
we put the trees and the landscape in,
Uh-huh.
and the fence especially, I think it's really going to help people to want to go this way.
Okay.
And then when they open up that crosswalk and the light there.
Mhm.
So if no one cares, I know there's, we can do cherries, dogwoods. The city likes dogwoods. I know that. They used to have all those dogwoods over there, so we can do something like that. Or we can do something semi-evergreen. That's why I suggested the sweet bay magnolia. We don't get a cold winter like this year. It'll be kind of semi-evergreen and give a little bit of color with the trees up there.
okay. I guess my question would be is, are you interested in consulting with the committee I'm on? Because we have somebody who does, an arborist who does all that stuff.
Well, I know the
For the
city
city.
now has an urban forester. I think
Correct.
they hired him last fall.
Yes, and so if you wanted to discuss with that person, hey, this is what I'm planning, and they can say, well, instead of this tree, hey, here's the trees we're trying to put in, whatever.
Quite honestly, I've tried to go with a lot of natives, except for the knockouts.
Okay, well, I can hook you.
Yeah.
I can give you email,
I-
and she'll talk to you. And
Let me just say, part of the reason why this took so long is because Betty was a thorn in my side, and I had to wait until she left to do this.
Okay.
So we had everything worked out, and then we relooked at the plans when we got the survey done, and Betty just changed her mind on anything. So it drove me nuts. We couldn't come to any agreement on anything. So I waited.
You waited,
I
and
waited,
she's on it,
and
so
then
now
after
it's
the
okay.
holidays, I picked this back up, and I spent a couple hours every week working on this to get it done. So
I think it sounds great. In terms of which ornamental, I would say the one that grows the best around here.
and stays
Well, so-
is green and bloom.
So the cherry's
Yeah,
going to get the
you're right.
biggest and give you the biggest kind of blockage.
and
Okay.
that's going to be year round.
Well, as cherries, they lose their leaves. Okay.
We
A dog.
have cherries down the one we
Yeah. So those are the same type of cherries on the one way. They're going to get bigger and they're going to fill out more. Quite honestly, the dogwood would be a beautiful. We can go with a pink color on the dogwood if you like the pink of the Yoshino cherries. The magnolias are a beautiful choice too. They'll be multi-stem, so they'll kind of be more of like a kind of a vase shape. And and they won't fill in as close together. So it'll kind of give a little bit more visual kind of pass through, for lack of a better word. So I wanted to give a few options because I know you guys have been very particular about certain aspects of this. So if there's something that you want to see or not want to see, then I'll tailor the design based on that.
Well, we recently put a magnolia back by the pool, and I'm a big fan of magnolias, but I'm not sure I trust them in that location because they will die off in harsh winter, I believe. And,
Not the native one that I would propose here.
okay, and they do tend to turn brownish in the winter, although maybe a little greenish, but
You're thinking the evergreen one.
right.
This one is essentially a deciduous, but if we don't get a harsh winter, some of the leaves stay on as green.
Oh, okay.
The native one that I'm talking about.
Well, we need to figure out what is it that we want to propose to the city, because that's what I need to have to take to the committee I'm on and the powers that be in the city. So whatever, I need this drawing with whatever
Yeah, so
selections
I have the selections here, and what I'll
Okay.
add, if you guys were okay with the spacing and how this all looked, I kind of took your advice from before, which was we had it packed in before as a nice dense. This is a little bit more open, but yet still provides a lot of screening.
Mhm.
So kind of a nice hybrid of the two. If you like that, I'm going to quantify this. I can send this out to the association or Joe, and you guys can get pricing on it while we're getting approval
Okay.
through the, or I guess.
Yeah, I need this, whenever the things we want to submit to the city for their consideration, and I'm not worried about pricing at the moment, because knowing them, they're gonna, we're not down, whatever the bullshit that they're gonna put us through, because they do. But we need to say, hey, look,
Well,
this
the
is
good
what
news
happened.
is the fencing is on our property.
Correct.
So they can't really bug us with that.
Yeah, no, but this will be a bug thing.
Well-
No question, I have no doubt.
Quite honestly, it's all on our property except how we connect. So they really can't.
No question, but there will be question marks on that. No question. I mean, I think we'll look at, but knowing the way that this down here will be a thing because of Washington Gas. We have to.
I mean, there's only so much we can do.
No,
Yeah.
understood. But I mean, like I said, that's why I need to see this, so I can take it to them and say, okay, guys, now that we've got everything's done, sidewalk done, yeah,
Except
This-
for this, I wish we could get a nice sidewalk.
yeah, get
Now,
rid of the
the one thing
blacktop
that's
thing.
a selling point is we are taking down those ley-lines that are growing into their sidewalk and where they're having to harshly cut. And we're replacing with something that's not going to be a maintenance issue for the city.
Mhm.
Maybe that's a good thing.
The other question is going to be is that this is good, but what we were discussing earlier tonight, go around the curve. How far up are we going to
Well,
go
it's how
up?
much money you want to spend. This is what it really comes down to.
Well-
I agree. That side, it used to have a lot of beautiful vegetation. A lot of the evergreens died because there was Austrian pines over here that I don't know who planted. They have about a 15, 20-year lifespan, and then they naturally die in this country.
Mhm.
So they're not native. They just get to the point where they die. So a lot of those evergreens that were kind of nice screening along there are gone, and that's because they just don't survive at some point. And then the city came in. I think Betty got them to plant some junipers.
Mhm.
Some of them survived, some of them didn't, and then a lot of brush kind of grew in. So, quite honestly, the back where all those the old green ashes died, and so there's a lot of open area down there. Betty was working with the city to get trees to plant there.
Mhm.
I don't know whatever happened to that, but they were going to fill that all in.
Well, I guess, like I said, that's my question is that what we have here, I'm going to take to the city. So we're going to have one.
It'd be nice to go around the corner here,
I
but
think-
I don't know if we want to spend. Let's put this in, see how it looks, see what we like, and then kind of continue down the line.
Okay,
for
because I think
phase
that when
two.
we do that, knowing the city the way that we're working with them, you won't see nothing, never happened. I mean, they'll do this and they'll go, hey, we got it all done. Then you come back and go, okay, part two, and they go, part two. So that's my
Well, you tell
only
me
fear.
what I can certainly, but we don't have any survey over here of where the trees are, so we would have to do something. Kind of, if you want to do something, unless you want to do it by eye, we can always just go
Well,
out
because
there.
it's that mound, I mean, there's not a whole lot that we
Well, there's
can do,
some
is it?
oak trees and some larger trees over there, if I remember correctly. If it's something that if we like the palette we have here, we can just kind of continue down the line with some spotty stuff.
I don't know, what do we have to, because we got the hill there, the mound there. I mean, is it something we just want to do like on our side,
Yeah.
and just say, hey, as long as we see it from our side of that
Well,
hill
I mean,
and not worry
the
about
problem
what's
is
on the
if
outside?
The city doesn't. If it's not a joint effort, then the city's got all that shit and brush and vines that just goes into ours and kills our stuff.
Exactly
so
right.
it
That's-
kind of has to work hand in hand.
That's why I was gonna say, hey, this is what we've looked at, and this is what we're trying to, because
In my opinion, what we're doing here, it's not going to get big and bulky and have to get a lot of maintenance to it. Over here, I think you want to go with bigger, kind of more screening type of vegetation that we aren't doing shrub
well,
forming.
the only thing I can say is that I can tell you from what we're working on from a city perspective, okay, the door is open right now because of what Scout in the Circle is doing, okay?
I understand.
This is the entrance to the city of Fairfax. This is, and I've talked to them. I talked to the county board or the city board, and guys, hey, when you drive across and cross Pickett Blake on Route 50, welcome to city of Fairfax.
Yeah, well,
it's
too
either
bad-
going to be, hey, this is a beautiful city, or hey, look at this and look at shit. It's going to, you got one shot of creating the image, and we happen to be it.
Okay. Well,
So they're doing the thing. They're going to be landscaping and doing signage behind the giant on Blake, going to say "Welcome to City of Fairfax." So that's that side of the bookend. What's our side of the bookend? So that's what I'm looking at.
what are you saying? You want to go further down with this then?
I'm saying is I don't know how far we want to go, but this side here behind that giant is going to be landscaped and
Well,
done
and they don't
something.
have a lot of room, so they're
Correct. But
they're
there's signage. They're going to do something
Right.
that's a welcome. So it's going to be bookended when you look
No,
at
but
that entrance.
I think what we want to do here
Uh-huh.
versus what's being done over there will be two different things.
No question. But the beautification of that should match this
Right.
because so when you come down the hill,
Do you want to come down to a point, or do you? I mean, how far down
I
do you
don't
want?
know. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with this.
I just wish we would have had this conversation when we had the survey, because this could have been done. With
Yeah, I know. I
last
didn't
year.
think about it, and I apologize because I was so worried about doing this. So
All right. Well,
I mean, it's basically
what
what
I'll
I
do
would
is
say
I'll-
there.
I'll go
I
out
would
this
say
weekend and-
shotgun it. I mean, just any idea because whatever if we put this on their desk, okay, it's never going to be exactly this. It's just
I'm
not.
hoping. I mean, tell them I'm a registered landscape
I'm going
architect.
to
So
believe it,
it's-
but trust me,
yeah.
you will be involved. Okay, you
Well,
will
and
be
I should
called
come
in.
with you. Yes.
You will
Yeah.
when we have.
All right.
First thing I'm going to do is I got to take this and say, okay, guys, who do we present this to, and what's stage one? And it's architectural committee, and we will have a hearing, and then we will be on the agenda, and this will be a PowerPoint
Well,
slide
okay.
up on the
So
screen.
let me take
Okay.
this to. Let me go out there, see what's a logical stopping point of this,
Mm-hmm.
and then.
Yeah, like maybe up to the bus stop or something. I guess is that I don't know. I don't know if that becomes
Just
a
go
natural.
look.
Yeah, give it a look. I mean,
Just look.
Yeah, I would say whatever we do here doesn't have to be as elaborate as the
No.
front entrance.
No,
Quite
just-
honestly, I would do larger, faster growing plant
Yeah.
material.
yeah, something that makes it simple on them because they're not going to upkeep it, as we
And
know.
I think the twin concerns up here, as I said earlier, are number one, it looks unkempt, and number two, people don't want it clear cut because then you get all the traffic noise.
Well, I think what might, if it, depending on, I know the condition of some of this stuff is really brushy and stuff. Sometimes it's just easier to wipe it out and start with newer material than
Mhm.
it is to try to keep some in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, well,
Yeah.
that's what we tried to do.
The problem before was we wiped out the old stuff and then there was nothing. And
Yes.
We didn't do anything with it. We didn't
All right.
kill it. We
All
just let it crawl back.
We'll add that in.
Yeah, because this basically is we're putting together our presentation to the city of what we want to do, and we need their cooperation and assistance, hopefully financially to an extent, because of what it does. Because we can put the hard sell on them that hey, we're not some neighborhood thing. This is the entrance to the city.
well, it sounds like you got your needs to have pretty well down.
Well, I got-
what you need
I got
from
my
us.
job.
Is there any- Well, really, I just needed some decisions on the pillars. If you like the landscaping, if you like the the density, the types, then I'm gonna finalize this. I can give it to you guys to have the association. I don't know how pricing works. If Joe has it or the association takes it and gets pricing from.
Yeah, management puts it out for bid. And
If you need help on landscapers to talk to. Dennison Landscaping is one of the bigger ones in the area. They have their own farm, so they tend to give better numbers. So I noticed the landscaping numbers we had before were a little high on the.
Yeah, anything you send to Brightview is going to come out super high.
Super
So
high.
I wouldn't send anything to break.
Yeah.
They're not known for their
No.
landscaping.
Mhm.
No,
So
lawn care either.
and I actually went on Dennison's website to look at their availability. So when I spec this stuff, that way I know there's local landscapers that can easily obtain the material and plant it. All right. So any comments? I
I like your concept. I've had no problem with the density. It seems a little better than before where we had it packed in, and I really like the choice, the London Plain and the these guys.
Yeah, so the Amalank here. So I tried to go with a lot of natives, so that way it'll kind of help the city air. But I also try to do 3 seasons of interest, or even 4 seasons, where we have stuff in the wintertime that will look attractive versus it just being barren.
Yeah.
So there's evergreen shrubs in here, and then there's also the hydrangeas, the knockouts. So something that'll give us color all 4 seasons would be the ideal thing.
Is that arborvitae and evergreen?
Yes, the arborvitae. Yeah.
What is the average lifespan of the plants that you're proposing?
I mean, as long as
Keep them watered.
I mean, you realize London plane trees. There's some in Europe that are 400 and some years old. So I mean,
They get pretty big too.
they get big. But these are
50 traffic will take care of that, I think.
so. What you're seeing here is 10-year canopy. So this is what things will look like in 10 years, except for the shrubs. They'll kind of grow on the right. But the trees, if we do a 3.5-inch caliper, they're going to get to a certain point. What's nice about the London plane trees is they're not a heavy tree, so they'll let light in underneath. So whatever understory shrubs and trees we have, they'll continue to look good and thrive because it's not going to be so dense that the sun can't get to them. So that's one of the reasons why I picked the London plane tree. All right, do you guys want these drawings, or do you want me to just take them?
Well, I take it and finish, do what you, sketch what you want to do, because put together whatever you want me to propose to present to the city to get us the appointment before the appropriate committee on the agenda.
Well, the city doesn't have to approve our drawings, right?
No. I don't want them to approve. I want it to be where we're proposing that to them for their participation to kick in money for this.
Okay, because
Not prove it. We could, and they put it this way, as long as we're willing to write the check, we can do anything damn well,
because
please.
whoever makes decisions about trees on Fairfax Boulevard, they don't know anything about trees because there's things that constantly are dying. So we don't want to leave it up
Put
to
it this
them.
way, you don't want to meet the guy who is the person who makes that decision.
No, well,
She is, let me just put it this
all
way,
right.
we have our issues. Okay.
All right, so I will get this out by the end of the week. Joe, I'll just email it to you and you can disperse it as you see fit, I guess.
Sure.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Brian.
Great job.
Thanks, Brian. Good job.
Really appreciate
Sure,
your participation. All right. I think we're in old business still.
Yes, what's DHW project progress update?
Domestic hot water.
Oh, domestic hot water.
And there's not really anything for you to discuss on that aside from just that's in Joe's report.
Okay.
The all plumbing update.
Okay. So new business, concern regarding animal noise complaint. That was the thing that we had the hearing.
Yeah.
Which, when you guys weren't here, they're working on it.
We talked about
talked
it.
about it.
We didn't have a hearing.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, this was not the hearing you had at 6:30. This was,
Oh, the lady in Jeff's building?
Yes.
Oh,
because
okay.
she specifically asked to be placed on the agenda.
Okay, so we're sending that person another letter.
Right.
Okay.
We've already got that.
Okay.
And I could also make a few other suggestions on here if you'd like to help with time, because I feel like that presentation
Okay.
was great, but it also.
Okay, fire away.
Sure. So Joe and I talked, I think the Becht engineering
Uh-huh.
is something that we can push to the March meeting to
Okay.
look at and consider, because
Okay.
that's a pretty major ordeal and I think you want to have time to discuss it.
Okay.
Give you time to look at the proposal as well.
Okay.
All plumbing, that probably needs to be looked at tonight. Fidelity Mechanical, judging on how the board discussed it earlier, that could probably be pushed or tabled. The pool items probably need to be done, and then the painting, that could be pushed to March, and maybe I can get us another proposal or so as well to look at.
Okay, I like that suggestion of pushing two things to March, right? The tech engineering roof replacement and the painting of buildings.
So we
Looking
have-
at the bids that we had for painting, did anyone have any major
I didn't see them.
concerns? Okay. Was there a third item you said push to March, or that was it?
Well, I was suggesting the board could either push the Fidelity Mechanical proposal that Joe
Yeah.
talked about to March, or table, because that was the impression I got from your discussion earlier.
I'm all for tabling.
So the replacing the two pumps was necessary because of water?
No, it's not.
It's,
It'd be nice to have if something.
Yeah, it's
oh, right, okay. So we'll just table that. Okay, so what was the resolution of the animal noise complaint?
Sending another letter.
it's not like,
Okay,
We're going to treat it as a separate incident from the one that happened first.
right, I remember that, yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to get some notes down for the minutes.
Sure.
Okay, at 81, all plumbing proposal to relocate main sewer drain. Why is this necessary, Joe? Is it sewer backing up over there on 85?
correct. We had a back to back, and they came out and they were able to locate the section where the pipe has a belly in it. But then,
Belly? With the
yes,
sumps?
the belly, so
Okay.
what happens is mix whatever, toilet paper or whatever, they just sits in there.
Uh-huh.
So that was repaired. But then the line that runs all the way from the sidewalk to the main storm drain is so flat. And I guess over the years, because of the type of the plumbing they had, it may have, with the dirt settling, and it had a slope on it, I guess, previously, but right now it's flat. So it needs to have a slope on it so that we don't have the debris to stay in the pipe and to create further problems for us. So what they're proposing is to replace that section of the pipe, which is about 100 feet or so, close to the curb of the sidewalk here. And they will put a slope on the pipe.
Does this affect the other buildings as well?
No, just only one building.
Okay.
So will they have to go under the drive?
Or dig it up.
They're gonna go, yeah, they're just gonna.
Or they go in the
Over on?
ground and then they will enter the sidewalk and the driveway. So they'll turn around the sidewalk and the parking lot too, and then tie it in there.
So we would have a long period of time where people had to drive across metal plates to get into the parking lot, huh?
No, they won't tell the parking lot. They would turn it.
They did it pretty quick.
Yeah.
They'll tunnel under? Okay.
Yeah, but you gotta have proper pitch. If you don't have the
Correct.
proper pitch, they get debris laying in there and it just then starts building up and building up and building up.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's gonna clog again.
I believe I only know three things about plumbing, which is hot on the left, cold on the right, and it don't flow uphill.
Yeah.
Two other things to know. Payday's Friday and don't chew your fingernails.
Well,
So how much was the cost for that?
88? That's labor. Oh, labor materials.
Yeah, that's the whole ballgame.
The whole,
And
100
speaking,
feet worth of plumbing?
about 100 feet, I believe.
Yeah.
From what I,
90 to 100 foot.
Yeah.
So do we have any set limit where at a certain number?
we put it out to bed.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I mean, like if something goes more than $5,000, do we bid it? Or if it's something more than Is there anything that we've set?
There's not anything in governing documents, but generally the board will say or direct, above this number, like one of my properties is 5,000, then we want competing proposals. So we can certainly do that with this. I would say that I've had this kind of thing done at another property and they did about 60 feet and it was more expensive than this.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure we get a good deal from
Yeah,
all plumbing since
Yeah.
we
because
have
of
them
all
on
the other-
property, like.
I don't know that it's gonna be that much less.
No,
but it's good.
But I'm asking
I'm
that
with
question,
you. No,
right? I mean, like, I just don't like slinging money around without.
To me, I think it's a situational thing. I agree generally with you. If you're talking about major money like this, then you would want to get competing bids just to make sure that you're getting the right price. I think with this particular item, because all plumbing is, they practically live here lately. I think they're going to know the property the best and they're probably going to do, that's a pretty good price for what they're offering to do there, which I think is based off of all the other work that they have here right now.
Mhm. We're getting a volume discount.
Then my other question is, does this come out of reserves since it's replacing the existing line?
Yeah.
That makes it a little easier to,
Just one.
yes. I like the way he misspelled the word slope throughout the email to Joe. We got good slop.
Mhm.
This will put a good
If you
slop
look in
on
the line that was there's slop.
slop. And they'll call Mrs. Utility, who apparently is the mother of Miss Utility.
Mhm.
But, I got no problem with ordering this if people think it needs to be done, or what would you like to do?
Well, the complexity of it, and the distance we're looking at, the 100 feet. Jeff, you feel more comfortable if we get a couple of quotes on it? I don't think we're going to.
Well, no, I don't think we are either. So my only other concern would be that, so they're gonna cut sidewalk, they're gonna then, cut out the asphalt. We're gonna have to do something with drives. So I just don't want to have to redo something.
You mean the parking lot?
The third bullet from the bottom says backfill tamp, put back new sidewalk and asphalt.
Yeah, no, I'm good with, like if we end up having to grind everything out and dig it out and then for the.
Oh, what's going to happen? Because as soon as they tamp it down, everything like that, it's going to settle. And then-
No. So if on all the drives,
Uh-huh.
they're all cracking. I'm pretty sure that we're not just gonna slap down more asphalt on top of these, but they're gonna be ground down and then resurfaced and, we're gonna rebuild everything back up. I just make sure that these are deep enough that they're not gonna be affected. That's it. That we're not gonna screw that up and have to do something
right.
again.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they have to dig out a foot, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think they're on the same page as you, because at the top of the email, it said we will lower the drain approximately 6 to 8 inches from where it is now.
Yeah. Well, that's probably for the slope, but
Yeah.
I just make sure that it's deep enough because we have no clue as to what we're going to need to do for these drives. If we have to
Yeah, if we have to repave it. And,
exactly, it's
Yeah, when was the last time we paved? We did the. Didn't we just? I think it was a couple of years ago.
yeah,
Didn't
we
we?
resealed.
Maybe 4
No, because it was.
or 5 years ago.
Yeah, because while I was here, I remember us digging them up, and we actually repaved the
Yeah.
thing in my.
But it was,
in my
it was
lifetime
only
there.
about 2 inches or so.
Yeah, because they.
So that's
scratched it
why
up.
it's all cracking because
Right.
it wasn't deep enough.
But your side there had a water issue though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lake
that's
Foxcroft.
Lake Foxcroft. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's always gonna have a problem over there. It's just too
Okay.
soft. It's no matter what you do, there's no way to.
So what do we want to do in this?
Just do it.
Let's just do it.
So is there a motion?
Yeah, motion that we take the proposal by All Plumbing Service and Parts to do the sewer line, main sewer line relocation for a total of $8,800.
I will second that.
Alrighty, it's been moved and seconded, or do we need any more discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. That's good. We're tabling the Fidelity boiler side pumps. So, oh boy, Sunset Pool Management. We have renewing the pool management contract and doing lots of work on the pool. And I think we need to decide on that tonight.
Yes. So what's the story on the pool repairs? Is it just
It's a plastering.
plastering it?
Yeah, the last time was about 5 years ago, so. And it was, the bottom one was starting to chip,
Mm-hmm.
which it was repaired to make it out through the season.
So it's something
It's
we
really
don't have
big
too much
deal.
of a choice, considering how much the pool gets used.
All right, we did have competing bids for the pool work, I believe. Wilcoxon and Sunset.
And on page 72, those are kind of laid out there for you in Joe's report, as far as the numbers.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
So Sunset's $2,200 more. Well, no, they're actually,
815.
it's, okay. Why is the R&R waterline tile have two different prices?
Because that particular project is a different price under Sunset Pool than it is under Wilcox and Pearl. So
Alright.
they're just broke apart for you. So the main line, Wilcox and Pearl, 19,375 is for the plaster.
Okay.
Right.
Then repair and replace waterline tiles, 6,009. And then same information for Sunset Pool.
So they came out and they actually figured out how much of that tile has to be replaced.
Yeah, we have used Wilkerson over the years, and we have also used Sunset. So both of them do basically.
Is there any
Yeah.
deal we can get if, since we're doing the management contract with them, would they combine the two and give us a deal on the combined thing?
Not tonight.
They talked to her.
It's February, it's gotta be ready by the end of May.
Yeah, but it's the same Sunset Pool Management of the same people that.
It's the management, that's the same company we've been using for years.
Yeah, but I
For the
mean,
management.
Sunset Pool Management is the same people that are doing the
That's
repair
where they're
thing.
same people.
Yeah, so I'm
also
looking
with
at
the price.
23,000 for the management contract and 27. So can we get a deal if we give them both things? Would they reduce the price?
Yeah, what I was saying is we can always go back to them and,
Do you want to
you know,
ask
deal
them
it.
if we
That's it.
do a combo thing?
What we had
Corey, isn't this one that should be dealt with tonight? The pool?
Generally, you want to
Yeah,
get this because they're pulling lifeguards.
Correct.
And they've got to have their numbers and commitments in to pull those lifeguards from out of the
Okay,
country.
that's the management contract, but the repair things we seem to be considering first. That needs to be done before the pool opens, obviously. So-
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, the repair thing you could push to March, but you definitely wouldn't want to push it past March because they're also scheduling all of that right now.
Yes.
Mhm.
I see that Wilcoxon offers a 1-year warranty limited. I don't see any mention of warranty on Sunset for the repair work that I can, that's jumped out at me yet.
Yeah, I just,
We've had Sunset do repairs in the past couple of years, right, Joe?
Yes,
They have any problems?
actually they did, recently we had the pool drains were, leaking.
Yeah, the leak today, were they ones that fixed the
They were
leak?
the ones that fixed that.
Okay.
Okay, on page 95, item,
Didn't they
The
do that
board
twice
six.
though? Didn't they do it, fix it once and it
Yeah, we
didn't
got the
take
1 year
and they had to go
one.
back and redo the drain thing? I thought we had at least twice.
Probably different.
Okay.
On page 95, the white coating sunset guarantees it for 1 year, new finish against flaking or falling off for a period of 1 year.
That's sunset.
Well, and Pearl's 1 year too, 1 year
Yeah.
warranty
And you move.
for the, well, that's the dirt. For the drain covers.
I don't see any warranty in the tile work, the waterline tile replacement for sunset. Well, Coxon's has a blanket warranty 1 year from date of completion.
Well, the other piece too, look, so, that Wilcox Pearl. Refill the pool. And that $18,000. Am I right in thinking that refilling the pool is in that 18,000? Down there, so water and electric supplies as necessary for the work. Fill the pool, schedule the water truck, counterbalance care. Oh, are the owner's responsibility.
Yeah, normally anything with refilling is gonna be on the association.
Remove 75. So even if so they're, I'll tell you what, if I got contracts like this, I would be in jail.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is just scope creep. Remove 50 square feet of unbounded, plaster, right? So we don't get a rate of how much it is. So what if you don't have to do 50 square feet? Does my price drop? But remarkably enough, if there's additional, it's at $78 a man hour, right? So that'd be my first problem, right? But that just is screaming that we're gonna end up spending money.
Also, I was asking if we could do a combination thing, since we keep them as our management company,
50.
as a total thing, if there's any way to get, a couple bucks back if they're doing the whole thing.
So, are we talking about a new pool cover too, or are they just giving us a set price?
Yeah, you need a new cover pool. The cover we have is 15 years.
Oh, is it?
And it's already broken.
It's already broken.
All right.
It's also due. Yeah.
It's frustrating because the pool, nobody uses it. It's like,
What's that?
It's like National Night Out.
yeah,
We all didn't come.
yeah, I know. Well, I was out of town,
That
unfortunately.
pool gets used quite a bit.
Yeah,
Oh, it does?
Yeah, that pool gets used quite a bit.
There's, now during the week, could we honestly, get bids for them to, open it like 2 or 3 and go until 6 and see if,
Well, the thing I asked was last year, is there any way they could open it up earlier for just weekends? Because it's like end of May, June, July, August, 90 days. And we're spending this money for.
oh yeah, no,
90 days,
I would agree,
You know,
or further into the,
yeah, because I mean, it's
Let's
like,
say But-
May 1st, I mean, that first weekend in May, the pool's done, it's up and running, and nobody can use it because we all have a lifeguard. Now during the week I can
Joe, we should
understand.
just get you certified.
Yeah. And they do, did we find, because I know we had checked last year about doing, opening it up, a couple, 2 weeks early. and it was like a full week thing. Did we find out what it would be like, just like Friday, Saturday and Sunday, like just open it up on weekends? Like,
Yes, we did, and then we sent out, I think they gave us price on that. I don't
yeah, and how
remember.
much, what, do we remember how
I
much?
don't.
Because it's
Maybe.
frustrating where it's like, there's a beautiful Saturday, and it's like, 80 degrees, and it's, May 2nd, and you look at the pool there, and it's locked. It's like,
All right, so what
We
do we
need a
want? What do we want to do
revised
with the
proposal on the administrative part with, including what you're saying, or? They can
I'd like to
figure it out.
find out just the weekends, because I can understand like during, not having it open during the week in May because school's still in session, and that's, but, a Saturday and Sunday, have it open on weekends if the pool's ready. Like, when do they have it, when do they get it all ready to?
Well, last year
To
it
go.
wasn't, they had to fill.
Right, last year we had a.
We had the
weekend,
league
had
thing,
a- and
but I
then-
mean, before that, it's always usually ready like the 1st of May, isn't it?
Normally, the schedule will
No.
open up Labor Day week.
Labor Day weekend,
That's
that's what.
that is traditional.
That's
pool
Yeah,
Well,
opening.
tradition, yeah, Memorial Day week, Memorial Day to Labor Day, that's tradition.
All right,
Let me ask for some advice from Joe and Corey. Which of these two bids do you think is better for the repair work? Sunset or Wilcoxon?
My experience with Wilkerson has done a lot of the plastering over the years.
Uh-huh.
Sunset has only done just not too much of plastering
Uh-huh.
because they used to be in administration and administrative part.
Right.
But for what we received from Wilkerson, I will prefer Wilkerson.
over to that.
Well, then I strongly prefer
Wilkerson works for me.
So I will.
Well, it makes sense, yes, because
I will move that we accept the bids from Wilcoxon for white coating the pool and replacing the water line tile
I will second that motion.
for a total cost of,
well, with the new, what about the new?
We have to do the waiting pool too.
When,
No, we don't need a waiting pool.
Oh, we don't do the waiting pool thing?
no,
Okay.
this is the pool cover,
Just a-
was another
Like
10
another
grand.
separate thing, okay,
We
that's,
need a waiting
okay.
for that.
okay, so just the plaster the main pool and replace the water line tile with Wilcoxon would be a total of $25,384.
I will second that.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion?
And what about the pool cover?
We can
We'll
get
get
bids
to
on
that
that.
next.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Okay, does somebody want to take care of the pool cover?
Get bids on the old pool cover.
Yeah, pool cover we don't need till the end of the season, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we could
We
shop
can, we can
around.
shop around on
Yes.
that.
mhm.
Okay. So the only thing we really have to do is we need the management contract because they. Okay, so I mean, we only have Sunset, we don't have another one to consider, so it's them or bust.
Oh, we can get another proposal if we need.
What we usually do is say, how did they do last year? Were there major complaints?
Yeah.
I don't think there have been major problems with Sunset lately, right?
no,
We have had some disastrous years in the past, so. I don't
no,
think-
we're typically getting the manager for, I mean, because it's such a cushy. So, and he's been great. He knows everybody by name. You know,
So we don't need to make changes this time.
no.
So I move that we accept the bid from Sunset Pool for pool management for the season at a cost of,
192.
Which I think is almost what it was last year. It was
Correct. It
22,
was 21,
8 something.
Yeah.
23,192. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passed.
Can we ask them how much it would be if we did weekends, like maybe even into September?
Weekends beginning,
Like, I mean, typically the pools close what? Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
First
Yeah.
weekend in September.
And then it's still nice out.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
looking at it going,
And it's also warmer earlier, it's like the before Memorial Day,
I mean, I just get an idea of.
Yeah, just Saturday and Sunday, just weekends only.
And that would be the time, because if you give them the opportunity to plan ahead, they'll give you better pricing. I have another property that usually, like,
Yeah,
part of
'cause
the
last year,
management is
I mean,
the weekends following.
summer was nice for.
Yeah, well, May was last year was like really nice. I'm looking out there and it's like crap, in a weekend. During the week it wasn't a big.
It didn't matter last year because the pool was still under repair.
Yes.
The secretary didn't write down who seconded the last motion.
Rob.
I
Moved by
did. I did.
Rob, okay, good. What's left?
That's it.
That's it, except for executive session.
Do we have anything?
Do we have that?
I have a couple of things
That
to,
baggage?
it won't take long.
Oh, good too. Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you, sir.
also, I want to executive session. You want to take that?
Now I have to figure out